got people questioning whether there's anything that's happening today which is like what was happening in ancient times.
Yeah. Um, because, this channel is about mostly UFO phenomenon, but I like to explore other avenues because for me, nobody really has the truth of what we're dealing with. I go so far as to say right now that I find some of the whistleblowers credible, but there's a lot of anecdotal evidence throughout decades of people who have had really strange experiences. Um, and they range from orbs, having contact with these gray beings, and other more sinister sort of experiences that um, I can't discount that, right? So that's as far as I go. But when it comes to actually knowing what we're dealing with, that's where the philosophical war sort of starts. And you once approached me when I did a video, sort of scoffing a little bit at religion. Um, and you seem confused to why I was being so adamant about it. Um, my issue is with mostly the how corrupted organized religion has become since it originated, right? And I don't know if you agree there, but there are ancient scriptures that were written in different languages that have always been like a struggle to interpret by everybody who's tried. And this has persisted forever. And to me, that only tells me that um, there's a lot of misinterpretation of text, and it becomes really blurry to know what is real and what isn't from those ancient scriptures. There are those uh, commonalities, you can call them, like the Great Flood, and they speak about giants a lot, different civilizations, and all these things that are like common in between those scriptures. But right now, after these files dropped, and I saw how fascinated these people are with the more esoteric aspect of reality, it makes you think. And it's like, so what are we really dealing with? If it's not extraterrestrials, what the hell is this? So, what do you think about that? And how have you marinated uh, the ideas you have now about this after this drop? Because I think it was fundamental to try and like move towards or tilt towards a little bit, the esoteric aspect of this, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, the esoteric and the spiritual side of things has been breaking into discussions people have had around UAP in the previous months, and now it's coming up again. The darker side of that, um, with what seems to be some really occult stuff going on in the context of the Epstein files. Uh, yeah, I haven't thought about the rituals of the elites and all of that quite as much as I've thought about the topic of UAP and that being, at least in part, potentially a spiritual thing. Um, I think there's definitely like some kind of ritualized belief system that they all hold, and they seem to be taking inspiration, at least in a symbolic way, if not more so, from these ancient sacrificial cults of these demonic gods. Um, whether they identify as followers of Satan or some dark force, I don't know. There was a Dutch banker who seemed to think that at least some of them identified as Satanists. But there's yeah, so but behind all of the labels, I think that what they're really doing is worshipping power and worshipping their own power and getting off on the fact that they're the ruling class and they've got all this power and they can do whatever they want. Um,
Mm.
I think that's what it really boils down to. That's it's a religion of power over other people.
And it's nice to have like a more baseline definition or default definition, like the one you just gave us, because you can easily go towards the road of just anthropomorphizing it, and giving it, slapping it a religious connotation. And it's not really that. It's like the more basic answer is what you just said, which is that power corrupts. Absolute power always corrupts, and
Mm.
to the core, and that's, I think that's like the biggest takeaway. I do hope that we do find out more, even though it's going to be really dark. But um, how do you think the conversation will change after what's been happening over the last 2 weeks when it comes to understanding the nature of reality?
Well, it's one thing that I've seen being repeated across social media is that the conspiracy theorists were right. We owe David Icke an apology. We owe Alex Jones an apology. Uh, yeah, people saying if it turns out that they're really reptilians, then Icke is a prophet and all of this.
Shit,
So
that would suck balls, man.
yeah, but behind all of the jokes and stuff, that yeah, there's an acknowledgement that actually, yeah, there is this kind of like eyes wide shut Illuminati kind of religious or spiritual like dark group that seems to be in control of everything. And they really are doing rituals, and they do seem to believe in some kind of uh, dark power that they're tapping into, and they attribute some kind of like sick spiritual uh, I don't even know how you would describe it. They seem to believe in like loosh farming and all of that sort of thing to gain power. And yeah, just being very careful not to do anything that's going to trigger the algorithm here. But yeah, I think that has become a reality that's in the mainstream now. It's not just a few kooks that are saying that anymore. We have to kind of acknowledge that it's real. Much the same way as we have to acknowledge that UAPs are real now because of all of the disclosure that's happened. Well, not really full disclosure, but at least we've had the congressional hearings.
Yeah.
There's an acknowledgement that this is real. So it's yes, we seem to be living through a period in history where reality is shattering, and we're starting to learn that certain things turned out to be true all along.
Do you think we're ready for like a paradigm shift of that magnitude as a society?
Well, it. I mean, it's hard to really know what ready would mean. I think that at some point the truth just has to come out, and it might be a shock to people. But we've got to just learn to live with the truth and figure out how we're going to respond to that. But I think that we've been primed for something like this existing for a long time now.